I'm Not Following You by fuzzyyuzu from Creepy Encounters on Reddit. I take a walk every morning as part of my waking up routine. This morning, towards the beginning of my walk, I pass a man who asks me something. He's slightly too close to me, but not enough to make me uncomfortable. Just enough that I don't want to slow down or have to listen to what he has to say. I have earphones in as well, and don't take them out, but hear enough that he asked what time it was. Without breaking my stride, I glance at my watch and say 7:30, and keep walking. If he said anything else, I didn't hear. About 20 minutes or half an hour later, well far away from the first time, I came across this guy. The same guy walks up behind me. Again, too close to me to ask for the time. I tell him that point to get away from me, stop following me, and that I already gave him the time. That escalated things immediately. He shoots back with, "Why? Is it because I'm black?" I respond with, "No, it's because you approached me about a mile away with the same question." He says he lives in the neighborhood, so I say, "Fine, but please stop following me." He denies following me and calls me Ching Chong and yells for me to go back to China as I cross the street to put more distance between us. This guy follows me across the street and keeps following me. As I cross back over, at this point I'm yelling for him to get away from me and stop following me. He repeats the same line about being black and hurling racial slurs at me. I'm getting worried that while there are people out at 8 a.m. either they're walking their kids to school or going to work, no one is going to step up because of this bystander effect. After I cross the street for a second time, he gets right in my face yelling about how he's not following me. I have my back against an apartment complex, and I'm getting worried that things are about to get physical. When a tall woman with pink hair walks up, I don't remember what she said, but at some point confirmed to her that he wasn't leaving me alone. She is about the same height as the guy and starts to yell for him to stop following me. He's now being badgered by her and also yelling back at the same denial about not following me and being from the neighborhood, and accusing that it's all because he's black. Thanks to my lady savior, I am able to break away. A couple that was exiting their apartment who witnessed all of this asked if I was alright, which I say yes without stopping. I walk half a neighborhood back down to duck through an alley. As I'm walking down the alley, checking the entire time to make sure the guy's not following me, I see the woman with pink hair has disengaged and is walking off. I'm so glad it didn't escalate for her, and feel bad for not being able to thank her for her help. I take a circuitous route home, looking behind my shoulder every once in a while. Incident Before Work by Bitter on Creepy Encounters on Reddit. This happened last year right before I switched jobs up in October. I used to work really early in the morning. I would catch a transit bus about 4:30. I would get to my intersection and hopefully catch a connecting bus. I didn't like walking in the neighborhood for 2 reasons. Reason 1, I was almost hit by a drunk driver while walking to work. And reason 2, I have a lot of body pain that made walking very difficult. My bus was running late, so sadly I did miss my connection and was forced to walk. So I began my 15-minute walk to my job in the dark of the morning. My neighborhood is strange, one of those where you simply cross the street and you are either in the good or bad side of the neighborhood. I was in the newer, good side of the area, and it was barely lit with any streetlights, so the walk gave me anxiety. I am walking, and I see headlights down one of the darkest streets. It catches my attention, and I glance down for a split second, and then I focus back on the path ahead of me. Suddenly, the car peels out of the street and does a sharp turn to pull up right next to me. In the car were 3 or 4 guys. I want to say they were in their mid-20s. It was hard to tell, but immediately I went on high alert. When they got up beside me, they started screaming at me about how they were going to kill me, and a bunch of other stuff. Eventually, they made a U-turn and peeled off down the opposite direction. My heart was racing and I was shaking. It was the second time something bad had happened in this neighborhood, and put me off, and I couldn't wait to get a new job and move away from this area. While their threats were empty, and it was probably just a bunch of dudes being jerks, I didn't want to take away the fact that for a split second I was afraid that they were going to mow me down, or get out of their car and jump me. It only added to the growing PTSD fire that getting rammed by that drunk driver caused. Luckily, I got a new job within a month of the incident, but I am still nervous around traffic, and every time I see a car speed by me while I'm walking on the sidewalk, I feel my heart racing. I think of that time and that drunk driver. Lurking at Walmart by simulationerror on creepypastas on Reddit. I live about 10 minutes away from Walmart, but I'd honestly rather drive about 45 minutes to the next Walmart. The Walmart by me is just unpleasant. My brother and I decided one day just to go because we needed something real quick. We were short on time. We went in and browsed the electronics section. Sometimes they have cool stuff. With nothing found, I browsed the computers while my brother quickly looked at the LED lights. As I started walking away, I noticed a tall man with white and gray hair walking super close to an older lady. I thought they knew each other. When I passed him, he got super close behind me. My eyes bugged out of my head because I knew how close he was, and my brother looked behind us because I was walking towards him. His eyes bugged out, so I knew it wasn't just my imagination. He got so oddly close, I decided to turn around to see who he was, and I didn't recognize him. And I darted into the next aisle, where my brother came up behind me and said, "Keep walking, he's behind us." Next to electronics is the arts and crafts supplies. We kept walking. My brother peered behind us as he loudly whispered, "Oh my God, he's still following us, go, go." So we made it to automotive, which was the main reason we visited that Walmart. Which I realized that there was more people around than there was in electronics after getting what we needed. We made our way back to electronics to pay. It was over 20 minutes since we last seen that Danny Phantom looking dude. As we turned the corner, we see the guy again. His eyes darted right at me, and I tried to ignore it. The lady at the electronics counter looked a bit off, and I noticed them speaking Spanish. I picked up that they had called security because the guy was standing there. Meanwhile, in line to pay, the security came to ask this guy if he was waiting on someone. He replied no, and turned away. After we paid, I told my brother that this is why I don't shop at this Walmart anymore. As we walked to the front of the store, the same guy was following us out. We ran to the Jeep and locked the doors. My brother described his eyes as hunting eyes, dead and soulless. I don't know what happened after we left, but I don't shop at that Walmart anymore. I don't know what happened after we left, but I don't shop anywhere near my house to avoid the weirdos in my city. Thank you all so much for watching today's video, and a huge thank you to everyone who shared their amazing stories for me to read. Your support and encouragement mean the world to me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more of my content, and don't forget, don't shoot the messenger.